Hey guys, Tarke here, and we're going to be doing another Twitter Ask Tarke. We did one of these a few weeks ago, and I told everyone on Twitter I'm doing another one, so we're doing another one. Basically how this works, I answer all the questions. So, most important question, how's the cat? Bubs is doing very well, thank you for asking. If I had lots of money to improve PoE or to ask a studio to create a game from scratch, which would you choose and how would you go about it? If I had like infinite resources, I would make my own game, obviously. I really grew up on Diablo 2, Pokemon games, RuneScape, World of Warcraft. That was like my early sort of like boom, 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 boom. I still feel like RuneScape, like the way that RuneScape works, like someone needs to do a more upscaled version of RuneScape. Doing some kind of like RuneScape, the more ARPG kind of like hybrid, would be fucking awesome. So yeah, I'd try and make like RuneScape meets PoE and get all the money. And I mean old school RuneScape, not shitty new RuneScape. Any tips for people that are just starting out Delve and are playing casually? Chill, have fun, watch streamers, but don't really compare yourself to streamers. One of the worst things you can do is be like, oh shit, they're doing this, I'm not doing this, uh-oh. So yeah, good people to watch if you just want to pick up some general tips. Also, I'd recommend watching a lot of SSF guys. SSF guys are on limited stuff, so you're not going to see them running around like headhunters, and that might make you feel a bit better, I don't know. Uber Elite, Tarke Cat, Rise QT, Carver School, all of those good lads. Always just talk to Mr. Carve. Carve is just someone you should watch. Watch Carve. Watch Carve, ask Carve questions. Seeing how PoE and WoW are your main games, what would a game need in order if you really want to play it, such play it on stream? What games do you have your eyes on but haven't had a chance yet to check out? I also really love like very story-driven single-player RPGs. I got God of War when that came out, and I got like halfway through it, and I just haven't had a chance to finish it yet. I really want to finish God of War. The new Spider-Man looks amazing. I can't remember which Spider-Man it was, like the one I think on the GameCube. I played that when that came out, and it was like my favorite game at the time. I really want to play the new Spider-Man. I've wanted to play the new Zelda game on the Switch, but I haven't got a Switch. I've wanted to play that for a really long time, and want to buy Switch, Amy. So yeah. Do you think about your hair when choosing what to wear, or do you just choose what to wear without thinking about my hair? I've had like the same hair cut-ish for like the last 10 years or whatever. Basically, I like it to look really messy. I don't have the patience to comb my hair or anything, so what I do is I scruffle it up, and that's sort of that, and it's easy. It goes through like varying lengths of scruff and long and whatever, but recently I do like quite a neat fade and stuff on the sides every 4 weeks. I kind of need to get it redone, to be honest, and leave the top alone. And yeah, I just sort of, my head always kind of looks roughly something like this, of various lengths, so I don't really plan around it now. What is my favorite class / ascendancy? From a pure like visual point of view, I would think that Witch probably looks the best out of all the ascendancies. I think Witch looks the most consistently good with armor sets. I actually really like Duelist from like a build point of view, but I hate how Duelist looks in certain MTX. So it's always one that I hate playing Duelist because of that. That being said, though, I probably would say like Ranger, because I just play so many Rangers over the years. And for favorite Ascendancy, I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to say my 3 favorites are Occultist, Trickster, and Slayer. Because Slayer's always... I would play way more Slayers. I'd play way more Slayers if Duelist didn't look like shit, but yeah. Do I own a Nintendo Switch? No, I wish I did. What do you think about the possibility of PoE coming to it? I think that PoE should come out on the Switch, and I think that GGG, I would be the perfect person to test that port. So if you want to send me a Switch, I will test the hell out of it. Same thing, to be honest, I don't have an Xbox. The only console I have is a PlayStation 4, which was very kindly actually gifted to me by one of my viewers. And that's the only console I've owned since, I think, the 360, years and years and years and years ago. I would be really curious to try out PoE on the Xbox just to see what it feels like, how it like performs on a console. I'm genuinely really curious. I just don't have the console to test it. So yeah, want to buy consoles. What about a good comparison between Toxic Rain and Caustic Arrow? I think Caustic Arrow is actually getting underrepresented because Toxic Rain is a lot better to level with. So because of that, Toxic Rain just feels a lot better. I think when you have all the additional arrows, when you've got all the additional pierce, Caustic Arrow is really good. Caustic Arrow is a lot better for map clearing. Toxic Rain has its strengths in single target. It will really depend on the content you're doing. But if you had to pick just like one skill, Toxic Rain is a lot more well-rounded. It's a little bit on the slower side. Caustic Arrow will give you that really zoom stuff. And yeah, they're both pretty cool, but they fill very similar roles. What's my favorite underappreciated build, i.e. one that nobody plays yet is the most fun, strong, interesting? See, this is a really hard one for me because I used to play a lot of Caustic Arrow and degen builds. I really like builds where they do their like damage, but in a kind of interesting-ish way. So my favorite builds in the past have been stuff like Caustic Arrow, stuff like Explosive Arrow. I used to really enjoy playing Traps before they completely reworked Traps, and Traps just came stupid OP. But I kind of like it when you have to like think about it a bit. I still think Miners, for how powerful they are ridiculously underappreciated, and considering that they had the instant death-taking mine things, I think it's ridiculous not enough people play it. But probably, if I had to pick something, if someone's like, I'm playing this build, I'm like, yeah, dude, that's a nice build you got right there. Scorching Ray? Anything on a cultist with explosions? Meh. Ignoring the fact there are too many leagues, softcore, SSF, hardcore, SSF, and that trading is tied to party, how do you feel about a solo league, trading but no partying? That would be interesting, but I don't think... I think the bigger issue isn't so much that like parties are broken, parties are very strong, but trading, item acquisition, the fact that you can equip all of your gear at like 72, I think that's more of the kind of thing that you would address for you made like a solo league, no trading. I'd much rather have a group found league, so like you can only trade with people that were with you when it drops. I think that's the fix, not like solo trading but no partying. You want like grouping but no trading outside of the group. And basically like no trading outside of what drops in that instance. Basically the D3 system, I would love that as a mode. If you were to learn a new language, which one would it be? And on the topic, if you move to another country, where would it be? I've thought about this quite a lot, funnily enough, because I wish I did speak more languages. I'm very dyslexic. I really struggled at school and had a lot of extra tutoring to kind of make me somewhat able to communicate clearly. I did have German and French lessons when I was a kid. I was useless. I couldn't get my head around like the different pronouns, and having gendered words, since we have none of that in English, seemed really strange to me. That being said, I wish I'd paid more attention with the German classes, because I've been to Berlin a few times now and I really like Berlin. The places that I've visited that I've been like, I could see myself living here, and I've traveled quite a lot. Like I've been around like quite a lot of Asia and stuff, have been Berlin. I've really felt like a sense of like I could live here, and Edinburgh, which depending on who you ask, technically is another country, but so if I could learn another language, it would, if I could instantly learn it and not struggle at all, it would probably be something maybe like Mandarin, just because it's a very useful or interesting language to have. But otherwise, I'd probably say German, because I really like Berlin. So oh, and as for like moving to another country, potentially there are a few places which would be really cool to move to. Other than the fact that both in Berlin and in Edinburgh, I've really felt like a sense of like, this place resonates with my energy. If a certain games company, not that any spring to mind, and say like New Zealand, I think New Zealand's a cool place to be. A lot of my favorite bands are from New Zealand, and yeah, I think I would do well down there. But also, you know, dating someone who lives in Ireland, Ireland's pretty chill. It's not quite as nice as Edinburgh, but you know, I could see myself being over there at some point, maybe. I don't know. Who's my favorite viewer, and why is it Hale? Who's my favorite viewer? I'm pretty fond of this guy called Yoji, who watches me kind of regularly. You might not have heard of him. Yeah, he's pretty cool. Showcase your setup, maybe like a mouse and keyboard you're using and such. I use a Logitech G600. It has lots of buttons on the side, and as you can see, it has a right click. It also has a third click. You can bind this third click to other options. I've been told that you can't actually buy these anymore. Apparently these are like out of production. I just messed up my stuff. But yeah, no, it's a really nice mouse. I've got like 10 of them because I just keep whenever they're on sale, I buy them. I've always been in the point of view of somebody who plays like MMOs a lot. If you're like dependent on a certain peripheral, when it's on sale, buy like 3. So if one breaks, you're not screwed. Headset, I use HyperX Cloud 2s, I think. I've had these for a few years. I really like them. I really like HyperX stuff. I've never had bad experience. They're like durable. Yeah, they're good. HyperX, if you want to sponsor me, let's go. And for my keyboard, I use a Corsair K70. I've tried a few different keyboards. I did have a Logitech keyboard before this, which was a gift from one of my viewers. When I first started streaming, I was using a really cheap plastic piece of shit because I previously had a Razer keyboard, which broke. Razer keyboards, I've never had good experience with the Razer products. Sorry. Maybe they're better now. I haven't tried them in like upwards of 5 years. But yeah, I had the old Logitech G710 or something. That was pretty good. I think I prefer this Corsair one though. It's got like a really nice like finish on it. Again, Corsair, if you'd like to sponsor me, I'll always take more peripherals. But yeah, no, I like it. It's very sturdy. I think it's probably my favorite keyboard I've had so far. It's got that very loud... I need to stop doing that. It's got a very nice loud click to it. So yeah, that's kind of my setup. And other things that I use, I guess my microphone. I use a Blue Yeti microphone that I've had since 2013. And I bought it because I started streaming in 2013. That's what everyone does. And I wish I had a better microphone. And I need to buy a better microphone at some point. What do you think Elon Musk smells like? A lot of people say that I look like him. I personally don't see it too much. I think we're both white dudes with faces. But for the people who think he's my dad, I guess he'd kind of smell like an older version of me. I don't know. What are some of the things you'd like to see changed in Delve? I really like Delve. Some people thought that I was like really shitting on Delve in Bay class. Just the way that like you give analysis, it tends to come across that way. So I actually really enjoy Delve. I think my main issues with Delve, ignoring the bugs, which obviously should get fixed, is I just think the bloom in general is kind of out of whack. Fun fact, put on all the graphics settings and go into the Sana Arena. I had to do a Leo daily today, and geez. But yeah, other than like silly little things like brightness or whatever, which isn't a silly little thing, I guess the waiter explosions, the little exploding things, that's really broken. Also, actually, no, the biggest thing, I want a UI that actually works. I want to be able to highlight and search for certain nodes. So, for example, trying to target farm certain particular nodes on the thing is really difficult. Nesting Grounds drops the div card that I'm trying to chase. Have you tried trying to target farm a specifically named thing in Delve? It's fucking awful. Have you ever considered trying medicinal cannabis to help with my Crohn's? I have Crohn's disease. I've tried CBD oil. I actually have some on my table. I find it upsets my stomach. So kind of counterintuitive. So yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. I haven't tried vaping or any of that stuff. So maybe at some point. But all of this stuff is kind of weird. In the UK, a lot of this stuff, like, you can and you can't get, and it's all a bit kind of like iffy. Most of it's legal, but it's hard to like get hold of in proper ways. So a lot of it's just like ordering random shit online, and if you're ordering random shit online, then it's kind of like you're ordering random shit online and you don't really know what you're getting. If I could get a prescription and walk down to a proper pharmacy and know that what I was getting was what I thought it was getting, I'd be happy to try it. But yeah, anything to help Crohn's, cool. The main problem with all these things is when you're buying medication online, legal medication, just to like put that out there, even then you don't know who the fuck you're getting it from, so it's kind of hard. And even when you're getting it from like a proper person, you don't really know what you're getting. Where can I catch some more of that fashion advice? We did like a clothing video a couple of days ago that people seem to really resonate with, and it got really good feedback, so thank you for that. I'll probably do some more of them. Let me know what you want me to do, focus on for the next ones. Walk us through your taste in music, film, and art in general. This is going to be a pretty big question, so I'll try and break it down as much as I can. Right, so in terms of music, I have a pretty wide scope. If you go into my Twitch channel, I have Exclamation Playlist. There's a link to my Spotify playlist, which has got like over 1,500 songs. I'm trying to add like 10 to 20 songs to every week to keep it kind of growing, keep it interesting to people. Recently, I've been listening to a lot more hip-hop. That was something that I've only really gotten into in like the last year or two. I started listening to, I think it was like Eazy-E was like the first thing I probably started listening to back when I was at university a few years ago. And I sort of started on that kind of like realm of things. And I did listen to like Outkast when I was younger, but like the last year or two I've like been really going in. Kanye is my boy. Earl Sweatshirt, Tyler. I'm waiting for that new mixtape. Otherwise, it's a lot more traditional in terms of punk. David Bowie, Lou Reed. So kind of like a mix of kind of 60s, 70s, 80s, like punk, new wave, then going into some more kind of hip hop related stuff now, and then insert, you know, indie bait band here. In terms of film, I really, even though I went to film school, I'm actually not that snobby about film. I'm one of those people who I can quite happily go and see like a really trashy film. I just need to like know what it like. You need to be able to take a film for what it is. So, for example, the Solo Star Wars movie, I went into it expecting this will just be a summer film. It's not going to be the best film in the world, but it'll be what it is. And I really enjoyed it. Because of that, I've actually been able to enjoy all of the new Star Wars films. So yeah, obviously some of my favorites are more kind of like indie stuff. Cutie and the Boxer is probably my favorite film. It's a documentary. I got to have a chat with the guy who made it at a Q&A once. That was really cool. Chasing Amy is a slightly more normie film you've probably heard of. Memento is amazing. But yeah, so kind of like art bait stuff and then more like modern trashy stuff. And then art-wise, I really like video installation, and in terms of books, I grew up on Terry Pratchett and Douglas Adams, so that should kind of like round you in a little bit there. It might be a bit too early for this. What do you expect PoE 3.5 to be like if both Incursion and Delve go core on top of Masters rework and another massive league? It'll be a big update in my opinion, I agree. Do you think all these elements can work well together? I have no idea how Incursion and Delve can work together. I feel like it will be really like awkward for the gameplay loop. I'm imagining they have an idea. That's also why I think maybe they might make like Ironheart and Alva come back as Forsaken Masters. 3.5 is meant to be the massive like master rework. So it would make sense that, you know, you've got Nico, you've got all these new NPCs coming in. You make them into some kind of master system and then it all kind of makes sense. So I think if done well, yes. And without annoying the hell out of Bex, I have no idea exactly how we'll pull it off, but I have faith they will pull it off. How much do you care about Incursion going into the core game? Also, when they add it, how do you think they should do it? Basically kind of what I said going into here. I feel like it'd be a cool like master system. I really like how they've handled the new Zana. And I think with some like a little bit of lore, a little bit of you know, NPC dialogue going in there, having a sense of like a progressive story, I think it'd be kind of cool. It would weaken up some of the like weaker points of Path of Exile. You could like do it to like interject some of the leveling to make it feel a bit less boring. And certain points an axe drag a bit, put a new master, like you actually like meet the master while leveling. I don't know, it could be kind of cool. Mr. Fashion Streamer Man, what do you think of oversized hoodies? Is comfiness a sin in the eyes of fashion? No. If you enjoy something and you're comfortable in it, pog. This is just like a black overshirt. I often wear a lot of like slightly oversized shirts just because they're comfortable, and you can either do them as like a button down or you can do them as is, kind of almost wear them like a jacket. So no, I think oversized stuff is fine. Obviously, if you're like know nothing about whatever and you're really unsure about, oh, should I wear this or should I wear that? Generally, if you buy things that fit you, that's safe. Oversizing, undersizing, it works if you know what you're doing. Final verdict on CA, worth playing it for the dot, worth trying to play with the explosions, useless for scoop. As I said earlier, I think CA is really good. It's kind of outshadowed a little bit by Toxic Rain from a streamer point of view, because not many streamers have gone pure Caustic, aside from, I guess, Pox, but I think Caustic is still good. If I got a Soul Strike in SSF, I'd probably do some Caustic stuff on my Occultist. What could be the most fun Ascendancy if implemented better, and what essentially should exist but doesn't? I think Berserker with the Warcry stuff, if done correctly and really focused on Warcries, could be amazing. I think that's like the real, like, it's got like the most interesting thematics and theming. They've done all this cool new Warcry stuff, and there's just like... and as for Ascendancy that should exist but doesn't, ooh... I think it'd be kind of cool to have, because we have like some utility stuff. We have tank stuff. We have regen stuff. What something do we have that isn't already represented? Maybe like a pure physical Ascendancy. We don't really have anything which is like centered around physical. We have Gladiator, which is probably the closest with the explosions, but like a... Because we have, like, Chieftain. It's weird. We have Chieftain, which is, like, fire. And then we have stuff which has been kind of tied into poison recently. So I think it's a bit weird that we have Chieftain just like randomly with this fire thing going on. So I think that if we're going to have that, we should have more of that, or maybe Chieftain's the wrong one because it's this random fire and we don't have like a lightning thing, for example. What Ascendancy would you like to get some more unique identities, and what would you like to see from it? I guess what I just said. I think Berserker is a bit of a waste, and I think Chieftain's just a bit of a weird Ascendancy. I think Chieftain's kind of just like floating in the mist. Yeah, I feel like they could do something more interesting there. What's the ETA on your new Instagram account with daily tips and look of the day kind of stuff? I don't know. I'm not really much into Instagram. I do actually have an Instagram. It's got a bunch of pictures of my old cat on there. If you guys would be into that, I guess I could maybe think about it. I actually hate taking pictures, but I don't know. Maybe it's something I could think about. What do I think about making Sulfite tradable? On Baycast, there'll be lots of opinions back and forth, but no one mentioned that idea. Similar to the lab, Delve could remain very lucrative because the community will determine the value of the Sulfite. I think making Sulfite tradable doesn't fix the core issue, and the core issue is Sulfite cost and Sulfite acquisition. GGG has a history of there being like a core problem, and then they do like a sideways fix. Also, like people often see trade as the worst part of Path of Exile, so making PoE more dependent on that is iffy in my opinion. So yeah, you need to remember that a lot of the new players don't trade early on, and you've got SSF as a growing market. I think fusing trade to fix problems in your own system is bad. I think you fix the core problem, and then afterwards, sure, make it tradable. I don't care. What are my thoughts on quality of life creep? Will continue getting small quality of life improvements so people find smaller and more unnecessary improvements to moan about on Reddit. Also, cute cat. Thanks for the cute cat. I think quality of life creep is actually a really interesting topic. It's really interesting how things shuffle along in that sense. And it's definitely like a much broader thing, but I think, yeah, definitely quality of life creep is something you kind of have to watch, and it's hard to watch. Interesting. You see it kind of in WoW, but yeah, I don't know. It's cool. It's cool. It's also kind of one of those things, briefly just staying on that one, for example, instant detonating mines, instant phase run is quality of life, but it's actually insane power creep. So small things which could be like, oh, you've made the stash slightly more efficient, therefore people are mapping slightly faster, therefore they're getting slightly more currency, maybe they're burning out slightly quicker. That's like the indirect side of quality of life creep, and then the more direct side of quality of life creep is like, yeah, insane like phase run stuff. If Delve goes core, what are your thoughts on bringing it more hardcore over softcore? Should it be more punishing, etc.? I think Delve is in a really good spot. I know that I've been saying that like Delve has made softcore worthwhile to me. I still think Delve is an amazing league for hardcore. Like Delve gives you more reasons to play hardcore. In fact, it gives you more reasons and more ways to challenge your character. But for me, it also gave softcore a purpose. It gave me a reason to play softcore. I think you can argue that Delve is more hardcore oriented or Delve is more softcore oriented. Rise has done that quite a lot on Bayclass recently. Al Kaiser went on like a mini rant about it recently. I think you can argue it both ways, but for me personally, Delve gave me a reason to play softcore. So yeah. Berserker still has some interesting aspects, but still seems like an underrepresented Ascendancy choice. I agree. What changes would you implement to make it more of an interesting option? As I was talking about earlier, making it more tied around the Warcry, get rid of the weird degen side of things. I think having like a rotating damage buff and damage like defensive or whatever would be more interesting than this weird degen thing it has. Yeah, I just focus more on the Warcries, get rid of the degen side of things, and focus more on windows of burst, which would be cool, with a proper UI. So it's like you go like a big roid mode, maybe you glow or whatever, and it's like, yeah, Berserker mode. Like you hit like a combo. Like imagine like you build up power, then you're like, activate, and then you're like, and then it like this, yeah, noises. Since GGG hasn't given any love to double question, a bit cheeky, but since GGG hasn't given any love to spellcasters for a while, here's my question: if you could make one advice on GGG how to make spellcasters great again, what would you say and why? Okay, so the main reason you would play a spellcaster, like self-cast over totems, traps, or mines, it's leech. Like leech is the main advantage they have, and there's very little available spell leech, both mana or life leech. If you don't want them to have life leech, fair. I feel like there should be more available mana leech, however. So focusing more on leech would be one thing. Another thing you could do would be looking more at lowering like the damage of gems, but buffing their cast speed. This focuses more on self-cast and totems, like weakens traps, mines, poet's pen, stuff like that. Looking at support gems like Spell Echo, maybe reducing some of the damage reduction from that, or just remove the penalty completely. I don't know. But yeah, I think that you can very subtly buff actual self-casting, not like stupid automated bullshit, by looking at how cast speed works and looking at like modifiers on stuff like Spellcasters. That's how I would do it. Would you nail Jesus Christ? What players would you recommend for Templar's Weird Body? Do you talk to GGG in private? For Templar's Weird Body, probably going for a long coat with a bit of a collar to it. Maybe you could put a nice little scarf on, hide some of that giraffe neck. Do I talk to GGG in private? I sometimes annoy Bex on Twitter, and that's mostly it. And sometimes I annoy Chris on emails, but it's on a very basic kind of like, hey, Bay-classed question, by the way. Not so much conspiracy theory kind of stuff. Other than the conversations we have about fishing, obviously, but yeah. What's the ratio of fashion talk to gameplay for the next stream? Apparently very high with all of these requests. Do you feel like GGG designs a league mechanic properly and implements it as such that makes it horrible on purpose? So basically, do I believe they purposely design a league, then make it bad on launch so they can then fix it later? Nice conspiracy theory, but no. It's not really worth that aggro. The only time I could maybe kind of be slightly conspiracy theory-ish would be on like purposely making a very ambitious league. No, I can't even go that far, to be honest. No, it's not worth it. For them, it's more aggro. If they are a company which didn't respond to things so single-mindedly on like Reddit and Twitter and stuff, having spoken to Chris, having spoken to Bex, no. I think they're trying to do the best they can, and I think the main issue they have is they have very large ideas and a very, very large game, and then what will happen is when you have these massive ideas, you're like, yes, I've got this amazing vision, and I've got this even bigger fucking game. A day before launch, someone will be like, hey, dude, have we tested this one thing? And everyone's like, oh, shit. Quick, last minute fix, and then that's kind of when things break. With nets, we saw last minute changes to net targeting. We saw the same thing with flares. You kind of get what I mean? It's like, it's incredibly difficult to balance around Path of Exile. Path of Exile has so many weird interweaving mechanics, so many different kinds of playstyle, hardcore, softcore, people playing on all sorts of weird things. You then also need to sign on Xbox. It's a big thing. So yes, that was Twitter Ask Tarke. If you enjoyed this video, I will do another one of these in a couple of weeks. And as always, if you follow me on Twitter, you can then ask me questions for the next one. I'm Tarke. Have a good day. Bye-bye.